Religion is just not as important as it used to be. And in the absence of spiritual guidance, the modern world has turned towards materialism. This decline has been telegraphed in literary works throughout history, and is especially evident in the dubious morality of today's economy. Movement away from spiritualism is not an evolution, but a regression, a crippling of the modern man. The modern man suffers from a lack of moral structure beyond the laws of his country. This is the gap that religion is meant to fill, a code of morality and ethics beyond simply what one can and cannot do. Take, for example, Indonesia. Indonesia is predominantly Islamic, a religion prizing moral accountability, with over 9 in 10 people citing that their religion is important to them and a great influence on their lives. And yet, Indonesia faces many moral and ethical problems. An example of these problems can be found in the rampant movie piracy. This crime is essentially theft, a matter the Quran heartily condemns. Despite the acclaimed religiousness of the residents of Indonesia, it is clear that these values can and will be abandoned for monetary and thus material gain. It is possible that this problem could be fixed by a return to spiritualism and religion, particularly the Islamic code of ethics and morals. The modern man suffers from a history of hypocrisy, corruption, and violence in organized religion that has caused him to turn violently away from spiritualism, repulsed at what he has found. James Joyce looked around himself in 19th century Dublin, saw the stagnant, corrupt, and hypocritical Catholic Church, and discovered what everyone wanted and would never achieve: an escape. Many of his literary characters are depicted as seeking an escape while they are only falling into the cycle. The only viable release from the material world is the spiritual world, and James Joyce falls into the same trap that many of us do today, confusing spirituality with religion. And due to Joyce's experience with religion, he does not view spiritualism in a kind light, causing him to dismiss spiritualism and focus on the terrible reality of the material world. James Joyce was one of the many writers to criticize the Catholic Church and religion in general. Today, their collective work often serves as active deterrents, pulling us away from organized religion and spiritualism by association. The modern man suffers under a dilapidation of his spiritual development that has increased the likelihood of mental illness and even affected the management of physical pain. Patients suffering from mental afflictions are regularly recommended treatments similar to meditation, a healing technique that is not exclusive to mental health. Meditation is also a way for patients experiencing chronic pain to relieve their aforementioned pain when medication is not completely effective or even without the aid of medication. While many religions practice forms of meditation, the spiritual mindful exercise is by no means exclusive to religion. Meditation is a perfect example of a spiritual exercise that a non-religion person may experience in order to correct today's reliance on materialism. The modern man has turned away from religion and, by association, spiritualism. This has resulted in an unbalanced lifestyle, focused on materialism, and caused a deviation from morality and overall health. It is time that the modern man evolved to experience both the material and spiritual world. Examine your lifestyle, discover if you are balanced, and take the first step.